Hey guys, it's Mr. Fresh, and we're back with how to write a mini mystery story. So the goal for today is I'm going to go through the last three parts of our list of how to write a good mini mystery. Some things that we want to think about to try to add to our stories to help make them more fun, more interesting, exciting. And so the last few things that we'll talk about should really help as you're writing that mystery story for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go through the list and then we'll break down these last three parts. So to write a mini mystery, hopefully by now you've created your main character. You want a main character that's going to be your crime solver, your mystery solver. Okay, you want to make sure that your character is in an interesting setting. We talked about some different kinds of settings and how those help the mystery, help that progress well. So you want to make sure you have some interesting places. And then the big one, number 3, we talked about some ideas for mysteries that your crime fighter, your main character, has to solve. So you want to have a mystery that has some kind of puzzle to solve. So maybe something was stolen, maybe something's missing, maybe something weird is happening and your main character has to get to the bottom of it, find out what's going on. Whatever it is, you want a mystery of some kind that needs to be solved. Okay, the final 3 things. We want to build tension to keep the story interesting. We want to include thrilling cliffhangers to keep the story entertaining. It's kind of similar things. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then finally, you want to make sure that your mystery gets solved. You want to have a conclusion. We've talked about the importance of our stories, our writings having some kind of a conclusion. A mystery story really needs a good conclusion. So no matter what, you want to make sure that your mystery, your crime, your whatever gets solved. Okay, so now we're going to break these down. So we're going to talk about 4, 5, and 6 today. So let me get to a new page. Okay. All right, so number 4, build up the tension to keep the story exciting. Build tension to keep the story exciting. All right. So what this means, again, for some of you guys, you're like, Mr. Fresh, I don't know what tension means. So basically what it means to have tension is you want to have some suspense. You want to have some things that are just like, oh, I don't know how this is going to happen. Like, oh, they were so close and then, they got away. Things like that. So you want to have your main character fail a couple times. That's important. You want to make sure that your character is not just something happens, they know exactly who did it, and it's done. That's not really a fun story. You want there to be this back and forth where your character might be onto something, but then they fail. But then they find some more clues and get a better idea of maybe this is the person. So here's some things to think about to include. So first of all, have the main character try to solve the puzzle, get close, then fail a couple times before he finally finds the correct conclusion. So I'm going to kind of break this down a little bit, make this a little bit simpler to understand. But basically, you want your character comes close to solving the mystery but fails a few times. So your character gets close, but then something happens. The bad guy gets away for a moment. The main character accuses the wrong person, something like that. Okay, here's a good one. I like these. Have your main character get into trouble and have a hard time getting out of it. Have your main character get into trouble and have a hard time getting out of it. So your character gets in trouble and has a hard time getting out of it. So what this could mean is maybe your character is following some clues, but then gets caught like kind of in the hallway in between classes and gets in trouble and has to go talk to the principal in the office. And so there's that tension because they're losing time of being able to solve the mystery. So have something happen, getting caught into trouble. Okay, so your character's weakness, if they're not good at something, maybe their weakness interferes with them solving the puzzle. So weakness interferes with crime solving. So whatever your weakness was that you were thinking of, this would be a good point where it interferes with that crime solving. Okay, so some other things are more things get stolen or lost. Maybe more notes, more clues arrive. Or maybe there's adults that don't believe the main character, like what they're trying to say. So let me write these down. So more gets stolen / more clues, and then adults don't believe, whoops, let me start that over, believe your character. Okay, so those would be some things that would be hard for your character to kind of get past. That's tension. All right, so now we're going to go to number 5. Number 5 is include thrilling cliffhangers to keep the story entertaining. So thrilling cliffhangers equal exciting story. Okay? So, some of these, some examples. This is when, again, there's something happens and we're not sure what's going to happen next. So maybe like at the end of a chapter, this happens and we don't know. So one of them, the main character is alone in a dangerous place. So your character is alone in a dangerous place. So that could be up to you where they're at. That's this dangerous place, but they have to get out of it. Okay, a big one. The main character has to face the bad guy. So I'm going to say main character versus bad guy. So there might be a point where your character has to confront the criminal. How are they going to handle that? What happens because of that? Okay, another one. No one believes your character or believes that they're in trouble. Okay, so no one believes the main character. Remember that tension again. If the character's trying to tell some adults and the adults don't believe them, that's hard for them to be able to solve the crime or have the correct person get in trouble. So a good cliffhanger could be that no one believes them, even though they might have some really good information that points to who the bad guy is. Okay, so some other things. That the main character is trapped, or the main character is hurt or injured. Those are big things. Like if your character gets trapped or they get hurt, how do they continue to press on to solve the mystery? What happens because of this happening? And finally, the main character is going to lose something important if he can't get out of, and it says jeopardy, but let's say like one of these things. So a cliffhanger could be that he or she, whoever your character is, says is going to lose something important. So maybe a cliffhanger for a chapter would be that if they don't get out of this place that they're trapped in, their brother is the next target, or is the next person who could get hurt by this bad person. So the main character might lose something important. So these are some good ideas for cliffhangers if you want to pause, maybe zoom in on something that you like. And then we're going to go to the final one now. Number 6. Number 6. Resolve the mystery with a satisfying conclusion. So I'm going to put solve the mystery with a satisfying conclusion. Alrighty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of tell you guys, I'm going to go through this list, and then I'll put some things up on our board, so if you want to pause and see it, you can. But remember, this is just the conclusion. So you will have a good conclusion if you think about what is your crime and how would the crime be solved. So you kind of have a point A and a point B, and your story just adds more details to that. So if your point A, your crime is that donuts got stolen, and your solution is that they found all the boxes of missing donuts. So that's your crime, that's your solution. But now you have to explain, well, who stole the donuts? Why did they steal the donuts? Where were those donuts hidden? How did your character find them? All that stuff has to be added in between. But here are some good conclusion ideas. Your main character saves someone. The main character figures out the puzzle and saves the day. The main character saves herself and is changed by her courage. The main character reveals something surprising about the puzzle that no one expected. So again, if you think about Scooby-Doo, a lot of times when they would unmask the ghost, there'd be like, oh, I can't believe it was this person. So maybe you want to have your bad guy be someone that no one would have expected. So it's a surprise. The main character overcomes obstacles, such as his or her fears, to solve the puzzle. Or the main character proves himself when he's really in trouble. Okay, so some possible conclusions. Saves someone. So your character saves someone. Another one is just that they solve the crime. They solve the crime, save the day, catch the bad guy. So they solve the crime, save the day, catch the bad guy. All right, so another one could be that your character overcomes obstacles and is able to solve the puzzle. So maybe let's say they overcome their fear or weakness to solve the puzzle. So what that means is that maybe your character, whatever they're not good at, they figured out a way to be good enough to use it to help them save the day. Okay, maybe you want your conclusion to have a surprise ending. So maybe the person who was behind it all was not someone that you would have expected. And that's crazy. That's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this person would have done it. So maybe you have some kind of surprise ending. Then finally, the one I like to, that I encourage you to maybe think about including, is that your main character proves that they are awesome. So your main character proves that they are awesome. So whatever it is, if you have your character, maybe like adults don't believe them, maybe their friends doubt their abilities, but then by the end of the story, that character is like, no, like, this is who it is, this is why, and they solve the mystery, and everyone's like, holy cow, that's amazing. How did you do that? And your character goes from being someone who is doubted, they're seen as maybe a 0, and then they become the hero. All right, so those are some things to think about as you're writing. Please watch this video, look back at the other videos. I talk about all those things you have to keep in mind. Email me if you have questions about what you need to do, where to find this assignment. Remember, Wednesday's assignment, so 5/20/2020, that assignment has the Google Slides that you're going to be using to write your story. So all you're doing is just on that Google slide, you're creating your story there with all these different things included, and then I'll be able to go back and look at those and read them. Okay, so make sure you get that done. Make sure that you ask me questions, watch the videos. There's a lot here. There's a lot to think about as you're writing a mystery story, but personally I think that makes this a pretty fun writing to do. So just do your best, put some effort in it, and then next week we'll be focusing on finishing these, but then also for a lot of you guys to go back and work on writings, because I want everyone to be able to pass. I want you guys to get a passing grade for this last quarter, and so you just got to get some work done for me so that can happen. So yeah, so again, I'll see you guys today at 1 o'clock. Make sure to bring some questions, and Ms. Wheeler and I will help you guys out with anything you're not sure about. So all right, have a good day, guys. Keep working hard. See ya.